Welcome back to the Coach Steve Show. If this is your first time being here, hit the like button, subscribe button on the YouTube channel, follow and rate on Apple and iTunes and Spotify. Follow on Twitter at Coach_Steve72, the Coach Steve Show on Twitter or X, whichever one you want to call it. Coach Steve72 on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for being here. Make sure you're liking, subscribing to the YouTube channel. Helps grow it out a lot. Yes, let's see if the camera works this time. We had a little spiffoo with the camera, brand new camera. We're trying to get stuff on the desk. It looks very cluttered. I don't know what to do. It kind of went all out here if you're watching on the video. Lots of Funko Pops showing my nerdy side. We may have to upgrade this a little bit. How do I organize this? But this is the way it's set up. Stuff behind me. If you've been a part of the podcast from the beginning, we've certainly upgraded. From the beginning times, the dark times. So this is all thanks to the people that watch and the great coaches and every guest that I've had on. It's all because of them to continue this. So the little upgrade thing was all because of them. So we're going to get into today's episode. We got a couple things to talk about. We're going to talk about Caitlyn Clark. We're going to talk about this picture I saw about the most influential NBA players of all time, and I don't know how real it is, what kind of value it has. Just some quick thoughts on that, and then we'll update a little bit on Caitlyn Clark, the Iowa basketball phenom out of college, now playing for the Indiana Fever in the WNBA. Talk about, is she living up to the hype that the fans gave her and all the experts gave her? Is she living up to it? Is she struggling? Talking about that. So leave comments below whether you're watching it live, listening to it later, watching to it later on. So on X or Twitter, whichever you want to call it, just scrolling through lots of things about Bronny James, but then this picture came up. And I'm curious to see what you guys think about it, whether this holds any water weight or anything like that. It was the NBA's most influential players of all time, posted by Buckets Access, where I don't know what that means. Number one, they have Michael Jordan as the number one most influential player of all time. Number two is Steph Curry. Number three is Kobe Bryant. Number four is LeBron James. Number five is Magic Johnson. And number six is Allen Iverson. So I don't know if this is like an overall poll thing, if this is just something somebody made, but enough to where we got some. You're going to get some clicks and looks, and maybe this is smart, maybe this isn't smart. Obviously, let's talk about maybe why this person or the poll put this in this order. Number one is Michael Jordan because he is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. Air Jordan. But most influential players, that means like the impact they had on the game. Because of Michael Jordan, people started to get commercials. Because of Michael Jordan, people are getting shoe deals and endorsements and, really making a brand for themselves before the social media times. So Michael Jordan is that person. Steph Curry, I think the reason why they have Steph Curry on this list is because of his three-point shooting and the spots he shoots three-pointers at, winning championships that way as well, beating LeBron James and stuff like that. So I already know people are going to clip that and say, oh, so you're saying you'd be like, no, but people talk about LeBron James being the best of all time and Steph Curry won. So what you put the pieces together. Number three is Kobe Bryant, because I think you were looking at the carbon copy of Michael Jordan. He went out and also got shoe deals. They are bringing back Kobe's, after his passing. So he ended up getting some big time shoe deals, advocating for himself and getting paid, because of Michael Jordan, because of the likes of Kobe Bryant, NBA players started getting paid a lot more. And just his impact on the game, winning 5 championships, being with one team his entire career, never going anywhere else. LeBron James, because of the fact that he can play point guard, he can play in the post, He went to 8 straight or whatever it is now NBA finals. Just being able to play for a long time, I think, is very influential. Magic Johnson, because that's the first time you see a guy over 6'2" be able to dribble like he did, pass like he did, the no-look passes, the alley-oops, very influential. Allen Iverson, they probably have on here because the first time a guy of his height, his speed, being able to guard people, the way he shot, the way he played. I also need to apologize if you guys hear dog sitting. So one of them is going to bark. The other one might cause them to bark. So that's kind of why I think this person made this list. Now, what's the problem with this list? I think we can all agree that Michael Jordan probably most influential because of the stuff I said. I don't know if Steph Curry, we could sit here and say Steph Curry because of his threes, but like in my opinion, Kobe Bryant was shooting threes like that. Ray Allen shot threes like that. So I'm not saying that Steph Curry did not change the game or did not have some type of impact on it, but I don't know if you can put him at number 2. Kobe Bryant is good at 2 or 3. LeBron can be a little lower because, in my opinion, Magic Johnson was doing some of the stuff before LeBron was doing it. Being a tall guy, being able to bring the ball up, play in the post, shoot mid-range, the type of passes he made. I think Michael Jordan was doing that before LeBron James. So I think you could scoot him up a little bit. Allen Iverson, I get why, but I don't know why it's so high. Because what about Stockton and Steve Nash? Like some of these guys were doing this stuff beforehand. What about we got one of the dogs in here. So if you hear one of them, I apologize. This is what happens when you're live, raw, and uncut here. What about Jerry West? What about Shaquille O'Neal? Like impact on the game, influential, try to get big men to play. Now I know we got away from it a little bit, but like should Shaq be on this list? Should this be a top 10? So I just wanted to get this out there for your guys' thoughts. Leave comments, everything else, what you think the most influential is. Like I said, number 1, Michael Jordan. Could you put Steph Curry in the top 5? Maybe. But I also think the way Magic Johnson impacted it is probably above that because people were shooting threes before Steph Curry got there. I mean, remember the Orlando Magic times and, the high-flying Suns when Steve Nash was there and Amari Stoudemire. So these are things I think that was happening before. I think Steph Curry just did more of it. So I don't know about this list being exactly, quote-unquote accurate. I don't know about anything like that, but I think you got to put Michael Jordan up there, Kobe Bryant up there. I think you got to put Magic Johnson up there. I would put Shaq up there. I would put Steph Curry still up there. As much as it pains me to say, you still got to put LeBron somewhere up in there. So this was just a curious list, I thought. I know I'm getting away from the Caitlyn Clark stuff, but just something I thought to put out there, So just comment what you guys think the most influential players of the NBA of all time is. So let's now talk about Caitlyn Clark. She's into her first part of her career in the WNBA. And I did an episode where should she go to the draft or should she go back to college? And I made cases for both. A part of me kind of leaned towards her staying at college only because I think of the money. She was going to make more money. I think she could get even better and make a huge impact on the game of college basketball. But I also understand why you go to the WNBA because it's time. It's time to make a change. Time to have a different challenge. So she plays for the Native Fever. This is sort of happening to where it's LeBron fandom type of thing. And I said that on the other episode because her coming in, they are putting a lot of pressure on her to come in and immediately change the way people look at the WNBA. People put a lot of pressure on her to be able to play the way she's playing from college and immediately translate to the WNBA. I never once said, because I had a couple comments on the video, I never once said that she could not do well in the WNBA. I just didn't know if she was going to be able to do what she was doing at Iowa and immediately do it in the pros. It will take her some time to get comfortable with it, because now instead of playing in college where they might have one good player, if you're playing a team that has 2 to 5 really good players, that's your UConns, your South Carolinas, and everything else. Sometimes that happens, but sometimes you're playing teams that have one dude. Sometimes or one good player. Sometimes you're playing with none. You go to the WNBA, most of the time you're playing against old college's number one player. So now you're going to go against the best of the best all the time. And so my fear was that coming in, she was not going to make this immediate impact the way everybody thought it was going to, because it's going to take some time. And we've seen it. She's had good couple decent games. I know last night, I think it was, she had 50 points. That is awesome. I want her to do well, and I want the impact that she had on college basketball to happen into the WNBA. But in the beginning here, they're 0-3. She's averaging 17 points a game, 4.3 rebounds, 5.7 assists, and 1 steal. She's shooting 100% from the free throw line. That's awesome. Her last games, 20 points, 9 points, 22 points, or didn't score 50 in a game. I think it's total. Turned the ball over 10 times her first game. You never see that. In the game on the 18th, turned the ball over. I told you were going to hear some dogs. Turned the ball over 8 times. So she's turning the ball over a lot. I think she's starting to get comfortable, but you're not seeing the same splash impact, because now you're going against professional coaches that can game plan around her, have different people on defense in order to handle her. You saw the fake pass to nobody and she went flying. You saw the hard screen on her saying, "Welcome to the pros." Those are things she has to get adapted to. And I said it's going to take time. I don't know if she'll ever find it this year. I don't know if she's going to make the impact this year. I hope she does. And I hope this is something that I am wrong on for 100% certainty. But it's just not happening. Like, people were saying that they were going to bring way more eyes and ears. The ratings of her college games were way higher than they are in the WNBA. So far, people have been wrong in how she was going to affect the game immediately. And they were wrong on the back of eyes. Maybe because I also think it's because the world is getting to where college sports are better than the pros. I personally think people might like college men's basketball over the NBA. I'm thinking now that college women's basketball is better than the WNBA. Now, the only one where you can make a better argument is NFL versus college football. I personally love college football more than the NFL. It's way better. I think because you see different great offenses, there's way more teams to be had and watched. Each game matters way more than it does in the NFL. I just think it's better. I think it's better coaching, or it's more determined on coaching, even though the transfer portal world is out of control. I just think it's weird how now even every game that you watched, these games that you've had, now I know there hasn't been a lot, so this is very, very early for us to be predicting this, but we are going by what experts on TV said, podcasts, X and Twitter, about how the immediate impact she was going to make on the game has not happened yet. They said it was going to be immediate. Immediately, she was going to come in and light the world on fire. I hope it happens, and I hope that it happens quick. But that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody young and say, you are the new face of the WNBA in your first year, and put all this amount of pressure on them saying, you're going to bring eyeballs to get the money. We're going to get more money here. We're going to get more TV deals. Every woman's going to get paid more. I hope that happens. But that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody. And right now, through the very, very, very early parts, that is not being lived up to, in my opinion, of what she was doing in college. And it's hard to do that. Here's another dog coming to lay down. Yeah, lay down. See, it's raw and uncut. Lay down. raw and uncut, no editing. If the camera falls over because of the dog, this is what happens. But I don't think that Caitlyn Clark is living up to that right now for the standards that we as the fans and the podcast people and those experts at Fox or ESPN, even though they're not experts, I think a lot of them are idiots. They are putting too much pressure on her. We should just all sit back and say, hopefully you can develop into the pro world, figure out your defense, get a little bit more muscle on you, be able to fight the physical game, come out and get confident shooting the ball again, getting to the basket, and you will develop into that person. But we cannot put the pressure on them right now or on her right now. So I don't think that she's living up to the expectations or this amount of pressure that's been put on her. I think there's too much pressure. And I hope that and I'm not saying she's not going to do these things. I cannot stress that enough. I'm not saying she's not, but it's really hard to put that pressure on somebody and expect it to happen immediately, especially through about 3 games. I mean, come on. Like, and people already like, talking about how bad she is. I'm not saying she's bad. She just has to get used to the game. And the eyeballs are not getting to the WNBA as quickly as they thought. And if they continue to not get there, then that part's just not going to happen. People prefer to watch other pro sporting events, and I don't know exactly how you get that. It's slowly churning, and the first step was college women's basketball. People love watching it. The next step is the WNBA getting some eyeballs. That's the next step. It just takes time. And I hope it does become big. I hope it becomes as big as college women's basketball. And I hope Caitlyn Clark becomes a stud. But it's going to take time going against these veterans that have played the college game. Some played overseas and came back. Some have been playing the WNBA for a while. You're going against the best of the best. And so to put this pressure on them, on any player, is a lot. So I just don't think she's living up to the expectations right now, but I think she will. It will just take time. So those are my thoughts on Caitlyn Clark and the expectations in the WNBA. So leave a comment about what you guys think that's been going on and what you think the future is. Like and subscribe to YouTube channel. Follow, rate on Apple and iTunes and Spotify. Follow Coach_72 on X or Twitter. Coach Steve 72 on Instagram and TikTok, and the Coach Steve Show on X and Twitter as well. My book's here. So you want to be a football coach, The Truth About Football Coaching and Nobody Tells You. It's a very, very short read. Check that out on Amazon. It's up there. Check out the links in the description below for new gear and coaching phrases on clothes. I think people will enjoy those. So check out all the other videos as well. Let's keep this thing going. Keep the train going. Please do all that for me. Greatly appreciate it. So do all that stuff for me. Greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for watching or listening. Again, I cannot stress enough. Leave comments. Have discussions. Don't just come at me. Let's have discussions about this topic. And I will see you guys next time.
Mm-hmm.